Hey everybody, and welcome to your Indie Snapshot for today. Today, we're taking a look at a very bizarre game called A Valley Without Wind 2. Now, the first A Valley Without Wind was an interesting game in itself because of its very unique art style, its play mechanics. It had a randomly procedurally generated world in which you were basically running around trying to save the world. It was after a cataclysmic event, if I remember correctly. The entire world had been mashed together. You had some magic powers, and that's pretty much all I remember about it. I just remember having really bizarre art style, a bizarre kind of style of gameplay. Now, you take that and you make a sequel out of it. What could you do to make it better? Well, you try to tighten up the controls a little bit, and apparently what you do is you add a layer of civilization on top of it. Obviously not as deep as Civilization by any stretch of the imagination, but Civilization style nonetheless. Now before we get into it, I am actually going to start. I have a world that I've made that I'm going to show you some of the later stuff, but I'm going to pop open a new one first, and we are going to just kind of show you how character creation works. So Environ, that's fine, we'll go with that. Do I have to click with the mouse? See, that's another thing I have a really weird, bizarre gripe with, is that some things can control, you can plug in your 360 pad. Some things you can use from the 360, some things you gotta use your mouse for. I couldn't hit start there. So, here, I gotta use my mouse here. So, what happens is you start, and they roll you a bunch of random characters to choose from with special powers. And this is their sprite. We're gonna get to the art style in a little bit. So you can show all, you could do Time of Magic, you could just have a wizard. You have Bronze Age, so it's all these people who have the ability to just they're acrobatic and they have some magic to them. Medieval, which is going to be a lot of fighters. And then you have Contemporary, which is modern day weird science and magic, and it's not well explained, honestly. I'm just kind of I tried to figure it out when I played it, and I'm trying to figure it out now. It is bizarre. So just hit show all. I'm going to pick let's go with a fighter. We'll pick this big beefy man, and we'll call him Trial. And we'll hit enter world. So you have to pick some sort of element when you create your class. So basically, you have your Forgician, which is fire magic, Stonebinder, Draftlock, which is storms and stuff. We've got Apothekineticist, okay, which is poisons and stuff, and Illuminologist. These names are frickin' pretentious as shit. It's not necessary. So this is Blinding Flash, Light Flare, Light Snake. Really weird. Yeah, sure, let's go with the Illuminologist. The first stage of your training is complete. You'll be ready to be my servant in a fortnight. Thank you, Dark One. Now that you have proven yourself willing, I can entrust you with the Oblivion Crystal. Basically, I'm serving some dark master, and I've passed all of his trials, and now I'm worthy of a dark crystal, which is going to be, which is basically going to give me the ability to be invincible. And I feel like DX Tori is having issues here for a second, so let me fix it. And DX Tori and A Valley Without Wind promptly both crapped itself upon the turning off of DX Tori. So let's see if this ends up being a little bit better for me. I'm using Fraps now. We're going to quickly load this up. No, don't back up my world. I don't understand that whole situation. Please back up my world. There we go. Yeah, it's definitely running at 30 frames now. Alright, so, like I said, we are essentially some weird... Oh, that's not what I want to do. Some weird, servant of this Dark Lord. He gave us the Dark Crystal, which gives us immortality, but people hate us now because we were, serving the Dark Lord. Here lies the Orc Mukaluka Furkalaka, who never did learn how to climb down ladders by pressing the down key. Also, by the way, doesn't exactly necessarily give you the correct controls. In the bottom right, you can actually see what the controls are for the controller, since the tutorial doesn't actually include them when you play. So, before we move on, I'm going to take a look real quick at the bottom left. These are your controls for your powers. I don't know why I have fire powers, because I'm pretty sure I picked Illuminologist. But I have fire powers for some reason, and that is just how it works. Basically, left bumper will fire off fireballs. Right bumper has this wide arc range here. Y is I drop a firebomb and I can run from it, apparently. I could drop a trap. There we go. And X, it uses up, see the blue glowing ring? It uses that up, and I had to do this huge explosion. So we're going to go down this ladder, and I'm going to hit A to go through. And this is basically all the tutorial here. And one of the things I want to comment on real quick is the controls. The controls are pretty interesting, to say the least. They're very finicky in their controlling when I use a controller pad. And to be honest with you, I prefer the controller pad over the keyboard controls. but they're both pretty rough. Now again, this is beta. You know, beta is beta, as Total Biscuit would say. But it's, I mean, they're using a similar engine, if not the exact same engine that they used for the first game. And you got to keep that in mind. God, that enemy spell blocked my spell. Okay, so basically, this is just explaining an interesting mechanic where if I'm using a low-level spell, which I don't know if it is low-level or not, and an enemy using a higher-level one, their spell will go right through mine. So we're going to move on out of here. I'm literally... Okay, so I am barely touching the joystick, and I'm, like, bolting. I am barely touching it, and they're sending me flying. What we're going to learn here on our way down, talking to all these people, if you actually want to talk to them, is that I am actually a double agent. I am basically part of a rebellion to overthrow this Dark Overlord. I had to gain his trust. And now, since I'm so powerful, I gained all of his power and all that wonderful garbage. I can now go out and undo the damages he's done to the world. Why I had to become insanely powerful first is, I don't know. It's bizarre. Alright, so we're falling all the way down. And one thing I'm going to talk about now is just the art style of this game. Honestly, it's weird. It's a weird choice to be doing. It's almost like they threw clip art in as their art style, and that's what they're doing, is they're using the clip art. It is ungodly weird that this is what they wanted to do, and I'm going to do a little exploring here. It looks like there's a door. It's currently paused for all players. Whoa, something, and so someone doesn't want me getting through this area. I have to be level 4 to come in here, so I have to leave. Alright, it hurts. Let's get out of here. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, it's a weird art style to choose that this is like what you want your game to look like. And this is by Arkan Games, by the way. They've done one notable game is AI War, and AI War is actually damn good, and it's actually really cheap too. So if you ever want to check that out, feel free. So that's basically the intro to the game. Now let's swing out real quick. I'm not going to go through this tutorial for all this like weird. Maybe I am. God, alright, I don't want to listen to all this crap. Basically, it's just teaching me the weird, like, turn-based strategy stuff. So we're going to exit out of the game. That's kind of your character creation. For some reason, Illuminologist didn't work. That's really bizarre. We're going to load up a world. And we're going to load up my YouTube world, as I called it, because I wanted to record with this one. No, don't back it up. Just load it. So, what you're going to notice in this one is I have the same friggin' powers, because I chose the fire one, before. And we can fight some enemies. I'm gonna once I get out of this dark cavern of death, we'll see if we can, fight. Now here's I can't really show you these enemies. They're really hard to show off because, well, I'm in a dark cavern. And can I get out this way? So as far as my understanding is concerned, is that it still does procedurally generated, it's a procedurally generated world. And your goal is to go from tile to tile and free it from this corruption by getting to the end of the level and killing the wind machine of some sort, I think is what it's called. And because it's causing all the corruption, making an evil, dark place, and nobody can live there, it's blah, blah, blah. Really, really nonsensical, boring story, at least in my opinion. I'm going to be heading over this way. So, we are going to be heading... Now, look at that. Look at the animation for... Okay. Again, beta's beta, but I mean, I've seen and played a Valley Without Wind 2, and it's the exact same thing. Look at this jump animation. It just looks so horrible. And, it's just this... I guess you could call it unique, graphical style. I call it bizarre. Alright, we got some health from him. We're hurting a little bit because we were down there. Let's see if we can get to the end of the level, and then I'm going to show you how some of the strategy works. So collecting coins, you can use coins for, it's like hiring mercenaries to come and follow you around and help you out. I am not going to fight these guys because I feel like I'm going to end up dying and get kicked out of this tile. Whoa! This floating slime mass will require some of some timing of my shots. It only seems to be vulnerable at very specific times during our fight. I'll have to figure out just when. Well, until then, I'm going to get this, like, weird dragon head thing. Try to, anyway, because there we go. It's going to kill me otherwise. So when is it vulnerable? I guess I'll just keep firing at it until I realize when it's vulnerable. Okay, so it's vulnerable right before it shoots. That's going to be a pain in the ass. And we got to kill this guy. No, don't die on us. Every time you do, it causes monster aggression to rise. Alright. I had to activate my Oblivion Crystal. Alright, so this is what happens when you die. We kind of get sent back to the beginning. I'll refill my ammo. Doesn't really matter. And we go to the world map. Alright, so this will allow me to show off a little bit of the strategy elements in the game. Talk about it. Let you know my impressions. So, in the top left is all the things you need to know. You have your food, your scrap, which is kind of like your money to spend on upgrading tiles. Population, housing, morale, and dispatches. So, what does all this mean? Well, you have this, like, civilization, this rebellion you're trying to kind of help. And by doing that, you need food. How do you get food? Well, you turn certain plots of land into farms. It's basically the best thing to do. Scrap you kind of get by going through tiles, defeating tiles, etc., etc. Mana is just the overall magic, which they really never explain. Population, well, that's how many people I have. Housing is how many houses I have, so I'm fine. The morale's pretty decent right now. This is a farmland that I turned into a farmland. So, what are you supposed to do? Well, you go from tile to tile, like I said, and you go through the level, and you free it up. After you free up the level, you're going to get some resources, and you can then turn that tile into something useful. Like right here, I believe, this is, this is abandoned townhomes. We're going to embark here in a little bit. I want to show you where, okay, maybe this is it right here? Abandoned town clinic. Okay. So this is an area I turned into a clinic. Okay, so yeah, this is an area I turned into a clinic. I cleared out, I turned it into a clinic so people can stay healthy. You kind of need to do that. I can go back in there, but there's no monsters. That's what it was telling me. If I go back in there, there'll be no monsters, but I might be able to find some coin. Here, we can embark here. It's the same thing. I've already purified this thing. I can't do anything with it. I already have survivors that are dispatched right now, so I can't dispatch any survivors. Every turn, basically, the game works in turns. So my turn, I can go to a tile and clear it out. Whoop, and my guy's running around. So we're gonna embark in this region. Here we go, and we're gonna go try and we're gonna basically try to clear this out. This will be my turn. When I clear this out, it'll be then the Dark Lord's turn, where he moves to take things back and try and undo the work that I did, or kill me, etc., etc. Every turn I can dispatch survivors, in which they can go gather scrap and build stuff and do missions for me. Auroch warriors have tough hides and massive shields. I have to target my shots carefully to find the weak spot on both its front and back. Okay, yikes, don't. Alright, well, I'll just... okay. Okay. I don't know if I'm doing any damage to it. We could try the, good old... do one of those. See, I don't know where its weak spot is. And because this game is relatively imprecise... as to what it wants you to do. Alright, we're going to get out of here because I'm hurt already. Yeah, screw the Auroch warriors. These little green, like, tree men are like the most common enemy I've ever run into in my life. And hopefully he'll drop me some health. Use my distance thing. Now, I know it probably sounds like I'm like, dogging the game and, like, really kind of coming down on it. And I kind of am. But one of the things that you have to keep in mind is I am bizarrely still having a decently good time with the game. It's rough. It definitely has some elements that I don't like. Graphics, animations, all this needs to kind of... Is he being healed by my attacks? No. Green means he's taking damage. I'm pretty sure. There we go, I killed him. Alright, let's do that from now on. And I don't like the animations. I think the art style's bizarre as hell. The controls are a little too loose for me. If all of this was tightened up, you know, barring the graphics, obviously that's not going to change, but if the controls were tightened up, things worked a little bit tighter, the Xbox 360 controls, or the gamepad controls weren't redonkulous, I feel like I could have a hell of a good time with this game. I really do. I feel like this game would be a lot of fun, and I could easily look past the graphics. But as it stands in a beta form, granted, and there's the machine I think I actually need to kill, and we can show that off as soon as I frickin' kill one of these. Alright, that's all the detailed advice I'm going to give you, but you're such a full... Okay, but I still have a lot to learn. Okay, real quick overview then. You don't have to memorize this. It can all be found in the help section. You've got a number of survivors like me to aid you in uprising against Demonica. We have certain needs, don't we all? Ours are pretty simple. Each of us needs a place to live, food to eat, and enough morale not to kill ourselves or our neighbors. Housing, food, and morale in a bar in the upper left. So what's up with the scrap of mana then? What's the point of even constructing buildings in the first place? Excuse me. Well, mainly you'll need to scrap the building. You'll need scrap to build things. You're not trying to build a colony or something, but we do get our food and housing from buildings. Plus, there are a lot of super useful buildings that are more rare that will provide you bonuses and blah, blah, blah. And I'll need scrap either to build those or rebuild them once Demonica comes by and knocks them out. Got it. Simple enough. The last resource is mana. That's used when you want us survivors to attack an enemy structure for you. Why not just attack the structures myself? I'm the one with the Oblivion Crystal. Demonica has put wards on a lot of his towers. You won't be able to get until we clear the wards away, force destroying the structure in the process. Okay, got it. Food, housing, morale, blah, blah. Alright, so, wow, stop talking. More survivors means blah, blah. Alright, so, as I was saying... Whoa. Where the fuck did these guys come from? Ow. No, I'm out of here. See ya. Alright, so I cleared that out. You know, that's going to be good now. Don't worry, it's safe reading this. Destroying windstorm generators like you just did purifies nearby land and causes the world's time to advance the next turn. As I was saying. Alright, we're going to close this off. And we're kind of hurting a little bit, but that's fine. So, I mean, that's this game in a nutshell. We'll go through one more level, maybe show you a different kind of color palette or just level palette. But, you know, as I was saying, like, it's not that this game's bad as much as I may end up being, you know, kind of making that seem like it is. Not sure if I can even see the floor. Well, I hope you can, because you're about to walk on it. Anyway, not like I'm not trying to, like, you know, the game's got potential, I think, is what I'm essentially trying to come across. Outside of its bizarre-ass art style, as I keep saying, and its really poor animation quality, and its very loose controls, there's some fun to be had here. There's absolutely some fun to be had here. I mean, I'm having fun with the game, even though it's not exactly perfect. I don't think it's, and, you know, I think it's definitely not going to be for everybody, that's for sure. The game is definitely not for everybody. It's going to be more of a more niche audience. Probably big fans of A Valley Without Wind 2. Adding oh god, it's dark. Adding the strategic elements to the game are, I think, overall, what is that and why am I getting hurt by it? Overall, I think was a positive move. I think it's really fun. I think the strategic elements, for me anyway, as a big strategy gamer with XCOM Civilization, being a huge StarCraft 2 fan for a long time, all that good stuff definitely adds to the fun the game's able to play, be part of. But another thing I don't think I understand or don't see the need to is what's the point of me fighting all these monsters? What's stopping me from just running by them outside of being maybe trapped in a corner like this? Why would I fight them? There's no need. They don't give me anything other than health that I would lose from fighting them in general. Fighting is, again, with the way the controls are set up, not the most fluid or concise thing. The keyboard controls are, in my opinion, god-awful. I hate them. I feel like the only way to play this game is with a controller, or at least, oh my god, as you can see, I'm having really bad problems with jumping here. That's the only way to play this game with any semblance of accuracy. Come on, can I get through? There we go. Oh, Jesus. Come on. Ow. There we go. So, oh god. Okay, I can't see them! Just die. There we go. Alright, I gotta be more careful, apparently. Looks like we're going through some sort of tunnel. No. Alright, giving me ammo for something I don't have. Nothing up here. I'm presuming I'm looking for the wind generator. Now again, one of the cool things is some coin for mercenaries I've never come across. One of the cool things is the random generation. I'm a huge fan, always will be, of games that use randomly generated worlds in a good way. Now there's obviously bad ways of doing it and good ways of doing it. And I think, you know, for a variety of levels, different palettes and all that good stuff, you know, I think is a good way of doing it. Am I gonna come across what I need to come across? I'm basically almost dead, so. Oh god. And when it's super dark like this, I can't frickin' fight anything because I have no friggin' idea where anything is. How I'm getting hit, where I'm getting hit from. And there's a monster. I think it's one of those green dudes. Oh, damn it. Alright, I'm dead. Well, I mean, that's a solid look at the game. Again, why they chose this art style in the first place is beyond me. I don't get it. I just feel like it looks low quality, it feels low quality, and in general it is low quality. And the controls are god-awful! They're so loose! They could be, I mean, they work, they're just so loose. Like me tapping the joystick, barely. I'm off, I'm sprinting. It's weird. And I float all over the place. Anyway, there is some fun to be had here. Again, you can purchase the beta right now off their website or off Steam, and you'll get the first game too. The first game is an interesting game in itself. You could actually, I'm sure you could YouTube some videos. Actually, a really good one is checking out Total Biscuit's WTF is a value with that way, and you kind of get a good idea of how that game plays. And this is a beta. I'll definitely be doing in another indie snapshot when the game fully releases to see if there's any major changes in how the game plays and handles. I hope there is. And that's going to be it. So that is my opinion. Check it out. If you think this is going to be your kind of thing, I personally think wait it out. Wait for it to be released. Don't jump into the beta right now. I just don't think it's ready. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time here on my channel. As always, thank you for supporting me. See you later.